Good morning, students. Today, under working with MS Access 2010, the topic which we're going to cover is data types. So, what is data types? Every field in a table has properties, and these properties define the field's characteristics and behavior. The most important property for a field is its data type. A field's data type determines what kind of data it can store. MS Access supports different type of data, each with a specific purpose. That is, a data type determines the type of data a specific field can accept. Once the data type is defined, we cannot enter a different type of data in it. And if we try to do so, an error message will be displayed. So here are some most common data types we'll find used in typical Microsoft Access database. The first one is short text, that is text or the combination of text and numbers, including numbers that do not require calculation. For example, phone numbers. That is, it is used to store text or the combination of text and numbers that do not require any type of calculation, such as phone number. It can store up to 255 characters. Next is long text, that is lengthy text or combination of text and numbers. That is, it stores text and numbers. It is used for descriptive fields such as notes, comments, descriptions, etc. And its size, that is, it can store up to 63,909 characters. If we use previous version of Access, we'll notice a difference for two data types. In Access 2013, we now have two data types, short text and long text. In the previous version of Access, these data types were called text and memo. The text field is referred to as the short text and the memo field is now called long text. Next is number. That is, it can store numeric data used in mathematical calculation and its size is 16 bytes. Next is date and time. That is, date and time values for years 100 through 9999 and its size is 8 bytes. That is, it can store date type information like date of birth, date of joining, date of leaving, etc. And it can store up to 8 bytes. Auto number, a unique sequential number or random number assigned by Microsoft Access whenever a new record is added to a table, and it can store up to 4 bytes. That is, it generates a sequential number whenever a new record is added to the table, and the value as auto number field cannot be changed. It store data as 4 bytes value, typically used in primary key. Especially these are used in primary key always. Yes and no. Yes and no values and field that contains only one of two value. That is, out of two, a field with can hold only one value. That is either yes or no, either true or false, either on or off. So its size is also 1 bit. That it is used in a place where the field have only one possible value. Next is OLE object. OLE, that it can store pictures, audios, videos, or other BLOBS, that is binary language objects. Its size is up to 2 GB. OLE stands for object linking and embedding. It is used to embed an object created in other applications such as Microsoft Word document, Excel spreadsheet, or PowerPoint presentation in Access, and it can store up to 2 GB of data. Next is hyperlink. Text or combination, it can store text or combination of text and numbers, store as text and used as hyperlink address. That is, the hyperlink data can store link to web pages, websites, files on an intranet or LAN on computer. It can store up to 8,192, that is, each part of a hyperlink data type can contain up to 2048 characters. That means approximate it can store 1 GB of data. Next is Lookup Wizard. The Lookup Wizard entry in data type column in the design view is not actually a data type. When you choose this entry, a wizard starts to help you define either a simple or complex lookup field. A simple lookup field uses the content of another table or a value list to validate the content of a single value per row. A complex lookup field allow you to store multiple values of the same data type in each row. That is, a lookup wizard help you to create a field whose values are chosen from the values in other table, query or list of the values. By default, access sets lookup field to the number data type, and its size depend on the data type of the lookup field, that you are using simple lookup or the complex one. Next is attachment. Files such as digital photos, multiple files can be attached per record. This data type is not available in earlier version of Access, and it can store up to 2 GB. That means this data type allow you to attach spreadsheet files, documents, charts, and other types of supported files to record in your database. Next is calculated. This you can create an expression. With the help of this, you can create an expression that uses data from one or more fields. You can designate different result data types from the expression. That is, this data type is used when a user create tables, fields that calculate the values. The calculation can include values from the field in the same table as well as from built-in access function. This data type is mostly used in cases of queries, forms, and tables. So these are all the different data types that you can choose from when creating fields in Microsoft Access table.